Hello once again to all you miniatures enthusiasts on the internet. I'm Doc Eon, as always, and it's a Monday, so I'm here to ramble. And it is today Monday the 10th of August, 2020. And as always, I'm starting out with some finished models, and let's start with some Reaper bones. Mostly from the bones for Kickstarter, all except this guy, I think, the Marrow was an older model who I painted just kind of blue. There's a lot of green tones in there as well though, so it's not pure blue. And we have then onto the Dreadmere stuff. This guy is kind of nice looking. The skin tone turned out a bit darker. I was going for a sort of a pale, diseased, like deathly pallor, but it turned out kind of rotten flesh instead, somehow. But that's okay too. In contrast with the bright red of the gaping maw. Here's some sort of ghoul-ish or wraithous whites or something. Not sure what. And here's some sort of wraith. Spellcaster. He's got a book ready there with a bookmark. All set to the right page. And there's an interesting effect, like his robe trails off into tentacles. Or, I don't know if it's supposed to be smoke tendrils, but I shifted the color from the blue, sort of blue-gray to more of a purple-gray on those at the ends. Hopefully that's effective. Speaking of purple, this guy is mostly different shades of purple. I was concerned maybe there's not enough contrast in him, but hopefully the big eye and maybe the suction cups on the tentacles provide enough pop colors to create a little variety. And finally, here's this wolf. I didn't really know what to do with it, so it's a few different colors. There's some green and some blue and some purple in there as well, but try to make it look kind of spooky and ethereal. And that's the bones. The other sub-project that got finished this week was this batch of stuff from Stonehaven Miniatures. As you might recall, I had a big box of stuff, and this is like maybe a quarter of it, or a fifth of it. There's some orcs or half-orcs. We have the archer dude here. We have the casualty. I mean, there's no obvious wounds on him, so maybe he's just sleeping, but kind of doubt it. Here's the thug, who's a midget, or perhaps just young. Here's the brainy young female orc, who's actually reading a book. And the baby, sitting on the ground. Then we have this, I thought this was an orc, but this is a goblin, actually, I think, with those big ears. And the mini Gatling gun, which is kind of interesting. This is a sort of bird being monk with funny weapons. What else we got? That's humanoid. Another little bird dude. He's perhaps a bit dark. Maybe it's light in here. And, oops, difficult to hold. A sort of little bard. Then we have the animals. We have Hedgehog. And cat. The stripes didn't come out very distinct on this one. My bad. And doggy. Tried to go for a corgi paint scheme because The shape of it looked like a corgi to me. It's kind of there. I didn't. You see these little creatures? I didn't bother doing anything with the eyes except dotting them in black, because you know you're not going to see anything more at the distance anyway. So, oops, that was the haul of finished stuff this week. Quite a few models. You know, a lot of them were semi-finished last week, so it's not like from 0 to 100. But still, and impressively picked up the pace. Let's move on to works in progress. So here's these 4 models, all Ripper Bones, are the ones that I've not finished out of last week's haul. Out of everything you saw in last week's video that was started, this is not completed. But as you can see, there's some paint, there's more paint on all of them. I'd say they're all about 50% done, at least. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much caught up now. That's good. Not much to say otherwise. The reason these have taken so long is that they have what I call a lot of gribbly bits. They have a lot of small detail that I often really don't know what to do with it, and especially on the bones where it's perhaps not as well defined as on a Metal Mini. But in the end, I'll probably just splash some color in there, some washes for contrast, and just suggest something instead of painting something in detail. That's usually the dodge I go for. We'll see. But let's see what brand new stuff I'm working on. And this is a selection of Reaper Bones that I've just primed. I haven't gotten any further with them. This is the Vallejo green-brown surface primer, by the way, which is kind of a mid green brown. It's a mid brown with a hint of green in it that I kind of like because it's a mid-range color. It's very neutral, and it's an earth tone, so it suits a lot of things rather than going gray. But I do use gray for some things. Anyway,
so here's the boat with the little stand on it. This was primed with brush on. Well, it's airbrush primer, but I brushed it on because there was no way to get all the little fiddly parts of it with the airbrush. And there's some places for example, I assembled it fully before priming, which was perhaps a mistake because there's spots like under the floorboards where I had to simply rely on thinning out some really dark paint and letting it drip between the boards and hoping it sticks there, so you don't see it's gray plastic underneath. And there's a few spots I missed here I can see now, so I'm gonna have to touch this up. Anyway, what's left to do is the oars, and now in the instructions they have not, I mean, the picture on the cover, the oars are sticking out like people are rowing it, but the idea they give you here is that they should be stowed, that you take them 4 and 4 and tie them together with string and you put them on the deck of the boat as if they were stowed. You know, same way the sail is furled. So this is not a boat in motion, it's just lying there. So I decided, because I painted the painted the oars on the sprue. So this is primer plus 1 base coat. And I finish them up and then do those bundles after they're all painted. That seems like the more reasonable thing to do. Yeah. And assembled but not primed yet is the medieval cottage. Well, I've sort of I went ahead and brush primed the inside of this little shed that comes with it, but this is just assembled. It's a fairly simple job. The inside, of course, is nothing to look at, but it's not supposed to be looked at. And maybe I'll do some gap filling. I don't know. On the box art, they've left the gaps between some, like the roof and the building. I suppose houses back then were built kind of leaky. There was an optional like smokestack, but they note in the instructions these only really existed on houses from about 1600 onwards, and I don't want a late period Renaissance house. I want a medieval house where they didn't have that sort of thing. I don't know, should I throw this away? I guess it could go in my bits box. I'm a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to unused pieces of models. I always think it could be useful someday for something. And apart from the shed, this fencing was included, and it's a lot of sections where you put this little base on each section so it kind of stands up. Yeah, it's just like, yeah. Won't be especially difficult to paint. I might, well, I'll just airbrush the primer on. I don't know if I'm going to airbrush some other colors, maybe to make it go a little bit faster. We'll see. Anyway, that's the house. So for the Dark Sword minis, all I've really managed to do is take the pieces out of their blister packs and lay them out, get them ready for cleaning off. But, you know, that's okay. I've got other stuff prepped that I can paint while I get started on these. So they're further back in the pipeline, but they're on their way still. What time is it? That's right, it's unboxing time. I've got a Kickstarter in the mail. This one is miniatures related, very closely related, but it's not exactly miniatures. This is from a company called Red Green Games, I think they're, or Red Grass Games. And the Kickstarter was for this new handle, which has a couple of features. It's supposed to be an ergonomic grip. It has a magnetic dock, so there's a magnet at the end. You can stick a piece of metal to your table and it will stand there securely. And it has swappable caps, so instead of having a whole bunch of handles, there's one handle and you can swap the cap out. And this stuff is putty, which is supposed to be better than normal poster tack for some reason. I don't know, we'll have to try it out. I got some extra caps. Let's see how many there are. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yes, 12 caps, plus the one that comes with this. So I can have 13 minis on the go at the same time. Also, part of the Kickstarter, no, I think this was a, I don't know why I got 2 copies of this, but, so, as an add-on, I got their wet palette, which, I mean, I already have a wet palette that I made myself, but I decided I wanted to try one out that was professionally made. And the reason, what I liked about this one is that it comes in a very compact package. This is a small, they have 2 versions, a large one and a normal sized one. Got the normal sized one. And my idea is to use this for my traveling kit for when I paint somewhere else. You know, I've previously had these painting evenings, Monday evenings at the game store, which right now aren't happening because of the coronavirus. Hopefully, they're going to start up, they said they're starting up this autumn, hopefully in just a few weeks. So I thought maybe I can have this for use there, have this in my bag, in my go bag, so to speak, and have the other palette at home. So these are the pads, hydration foam pads, and these are specially cut paper,
50 sheets of them. If I only use this on Mondays once a week, 50 sheets is going to last me almost a year. If I use it all the time at home, it would last like a couple of months, but you know, I'll try this out at home first, of course, to see how it works. But they've gotten good reviews, so hopefully it works fine. Oh, and it comes with a little side tray, which is a normal well palette. Apparently you can, there's some way to attach this on the side. And this here, a strap, this is for, it's an elastic that you pull over just to hold the lid closed when you're transporting it. Yeah, we'll have to see. And here's a book with instructions about how to use it. For some reason, there's 2 copies. I'm not sure why. They're exactly the same. But, oh well. I can have one on my bookshelf and one as for use. So, that was new arrivals, but let's talk about new projects, because there aren't any new minis in the mail. I'm gonna have to dig around in stuff I already have for new stuff to prep for next week. I'm actually going to be conservative again in my additions to the painting queue, because as I've noted several times, I'm going back to work this week, and while this first week is a light week of just meetings and prep work, next week students arrive, and yeah, I'm going to be pretty busy after that. So I'm adding one model, but it's a big one. It's a dragon. This is the dragon from the core set of the Bones 4 Kickstarter. It's the one thing from the core set that I've skipped so far. So when I painted this, the core set will be done. And I skipped it so far because I didn't have any inspiration for painting a dragon. But I watched a video by Dr. Faust where he does a very, very different paint scheme. He starts out with the idea that he's going to do a rainbow dragon, every color. It doesn't end up exactly every color in equal proportions. It becomes more of a sort of a bluish purple sky dragon. But it's a very interesting idea. So I thought, yeah, that does provide me some inspiration. And I can't copy that paint scheme exactly because this is a pretty different model from the one he uses. It's a dragon, but it's a very different dragon. But, you know, I never do carbon copies of other people's work anyway, but I take inspiration from it and take ideas. So that's the plan for next week, is to assemble this, and also probably, I assume that some of the stuff I've started this week is not going to be finished until Monday, so I'm going to have a spillover. I'm going to have stuff left to do. If not, I'll just pull something out of my ass quickly to prep. Anyway, that was it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did. Subscribe if you haven't done so before. Share the video, comment, and be back here next week. Same day of the week. Same Dakian, same channel. Who's now signing off.